Okay, I hope everybody's ready because we're starting.
We're ready.
Okay, listen fast. Welcome. We're more than a fashion show. This is my sister, Miss Stephan. I'm Mrs. Little, and we are so happy that y'all are here today. We're going to tell you not only about fashion, but we're going to tell you what it's like for us ladies and our children during this time. You know, there's a lot of things we don't know, but there's a lot of things we do know. We know what's important.
And anything we don't know, our husbands are going to tell us.
Absolutely. So we know what's happening with our families, our friends, in our children's schools, in our churches, in our community, with those our close friends, maybe not so close friends, more of acquaintances. In our world, in our community, we know what's happening with them.
Sister,
What?
I heard that we got a new coffee.
Oh, really?
I was over at Mrs. Baker's, and she offered me some of that new sweet potato coffee.
Oh, no.
Well,
No.
it was such a warm day, I didn't have any, but she just gave me some spring water.
Oh, well, that was safe. That sweet potato coffee? Oh, merciful heavens. Oh, do you know how they make it? They take a sweet potato.
Well, she told me you take a sweet potato and you cut it up really fine, and you put it in your skillet, and you cook it, and you cook it till it's pretty black, and then you let it dry. And it's very light, and you take a couple pieces and you smush them up, and you put them in your cup, and then you pour hot water over it.
And do
coffee.
you know what they taste like? Any guesses? Well, I'll tell you, they taste like burnt sweet potato. It's nasty. So to be polite, you just say, "Oh, I'm just rather warm. Could I just have a glass of cool water?" You know,
Because that spring water is going to taste a whole lot better.
Oh, merciful, yes. And you don't want to, but you would not want to hurt anyone's feelings, because nowadays it's so hard to give guests anything because we don't have anything for ourselves anyway.
But I did hear some good gossip.
Ooh, right.
Mrs. Jones had a baby.
Oh, we love babies.
Now, she had a little girl.
Oh,
Well, not that her daddy's not going to love her and she's going to be the apple of his eye, but there's things a little girl can't do in 1863.
absolutely.
She can't own any property. So what happens if something happens to daddy? Who's going to take care of mama if she doesn't have a boy to take care of her?
That's right. And also the family name. It will cease to exist if there's no boy to carry on, because of course the little girl's going to take on her husband's name. And so we love babies. Are you looking for what I think you're looking? Yes. Okay.
And first off, babies, boys and girls, will get a corset when they're born. It's called a belly band. It's going to go around their little belly, nice and tight. Do we want to make them skinny? No, we like round babies, right? Round babies mean healthy babies. But what do babies have on their belly when they're born? Umbilical cord, right. It's got to heal. So we're going to wrap this around and tie it while it heals.
And if you have a little piece of silver coin, you might want to put that on the little belly button because it helps it heal up, because it's got natural healing properties.
But boys, and we've got some boys up here, you're going to wear a dress till you're 5 years old. Nice, frilly, white, pretty dress with ruffles and ribbons and lace. And I have pictures back in Maryland camp that you can come look at if you don't believe it. Now, why till 5? What do you think is going to happen at 5 that's magical? Potty training, right? You're going to be able to use that outhouse, or as you call it, or the necessity as we call it, by yourself. Because to get out of your dress, you're going to get into knickers. Cute little short pants. There's buttons below the knee that button your stockings into your pants so they don't fall down. There's buttons around the waistband that button your shirt into your pants. And you have braces to keep your pants up. So you're going to be neat and tidy at all times, and Mama's going to be very proud of you.
Now, sometimes little boys don't think about things ahead of time, and they're doing a little dance because they got to go to the necessity. And they're doing their little dance, and Mama is busy. She can't undo things, so they have to undo all those buttons themselves. So
That takes them till they're about 5.
till they're about 5 to really have the dexterity, okay?
But boys and girls will also have dolls to play with. Now this is a topsy-turvy doll. She tells a story. Anybody know her?
Who is that?
Well, we called her Little Red Cape.
But that's who she is.
And she tells that same story. Mind your mama, right? Stay on the straight and narrow path. Always do what is right. Don't go wandering off in the woods or down by the river.
Don't talk
Right?
to strangers.
Don't talk to strangers. Mind your grandma or whoever it is that's taking care of you. And if you go wandering off in the woods, what did she find? The wolf.
Big bad wolf. So our toys teach a story, especially these dolls. And so whatever part of the country you were from, the doll corresponded to
different.
that.
So if you lived in Tennessee, instead of a wolf, it's a bear. In Minnesota, it's a mountain lion. What do you think it might be down in Florida?
Gator.
A gator,
Good job,
exactly.
folks.
And in New Orleans, it's a wild pig. So whatever the danger is in the woods, that's what Mama's going to put on your doll because she wants you safe.
That's right. And little girls are going to have a doll. Mama is of course going to give you a doll because your lot in life, women and girls, is to be a wife and mother. So you have to learn how to be a good wife and mother, and your mama's going to teach you right alongside her growing up. So you're going to have a baby doll or several dolls to take care of.
I don't
Okay, what about you? Did you bring the stick?
No.
Okay. And little boys, they're too going to play, but they're probably going to have their favorite toy, which sometimes is a favorite toy now. It's called a stick. Okay?
A
Now,
stick can be anything you want it to be.
your imagination can go wild. It could be a bow and arrow, you know, a bow.
It could be a sword or a gun, or if it broke off, now it's a shot pistol.
Mhm.
So
Slingshot. It could be anything.
Pop shooter. We can make them.
Yeah, right.
exactly. But did you ever give your children time out?
And we got,
we
yes,
had our
I'm
time out.
sorry, sir. I can tell right now. He's like, oh, yeah.
So this is our timeout. It's a pocket. And in the pocket, if I can find it, is a piece of linen. Now during this time, it's very, very important because we're going to have our children take all the little bitty threads out of that piece of linen and put them in the pocket. They're going to end up with a wad of thread like this. And ladies at this time, well, we'll have what we call a starvation party because we can't provide refreshments. So we let you know ahead that you're just going to have some spring water or some tea or something. And we're going to sit around and we're going to pick lint, which is what this is called. You're going to end up with these wads of thread, and we're going to send them off to the doctor or your father that's in the military or your son. That may make the difference between them living and dying, because if they get shot in the arm, they're going to take a piece of this, put it in that wound, bind it up tight with a bandage, and that may keep them from bleeding to death while they wait the 5 or 6 or 7 days for a doctor to take that bullet out.
So kids would have to do that for a timeout? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
women would, people,
Well, if your child was too busy, you'd sit him on a stool right beside you, and you'd give him something to do. This was the something to do. Maybe he would be shelling peas or something.
but it was very important. It was an important job to do because, like
And
Sister
very
said,
tedious.
yeah, but Sister said it could save your life because it would help the clotting. And then when the doctor or the surgeon was ready to take care of that, they'd pull one.
They'd wet it down,
Yeah, they'd
and pull
wet
it
it-
out one thread at a time without disturbing that blood clot that was keeping it from bleeding too much.
Alrighty. Now, let's see, do we just want to go into it?
Yes.
Because we're short on time. We're
So-
cutting our normal song and
Can you
dance
take off your
out
jacket
completely.
and come on out
So
and
if you
help
want
us?
to know more, come back to Maryland after the battle and after Mr. Grant talks, because we'd be happy to tell you
your hat.
the rest of our song and dance, okay? But now we're going to tell you what it's like for us ladies to get ready, because that's what y'all want to know, right? That's what, absolutely. So you got my stuff, mine? Okay. So I'm going to start. You don't have to put these on, so don't worry. Okay. Now, what's the first thing you do when you get up in the morning? You put your panties on, right? Okay, these are our panties. And they're very pretty. They've got a little bit of lace on them and some tucking on them. And if you notice, they got something else. They're, yes, they're a little bit air conditioned. And when we get her all dressed, you'll figure it out. If you don't, come see me afterwards. I'll explain it, okay? Okay, so the next thing is her chemise.
Now her chemise is the most comfortable item in her wardrobe. It is soft, it is white, it's airy, and it's pretty because we like pretty.
We love pretty.
But what's life without a good foundation?
Nothing. So next she gets her corset. Now we talked about the belly band being their first corset. Well, little boys would lose their corset, their belly band, as soon as it was all healed up. But little girls, we'd still keep a soft cotton corset around them, because we mothers know, and the men are always too shy to tell the truth, but a man wants a wife with an hourglass figure. Yes, they do, don't they? An hourglass figure. So we're going to help form that little waist. Like it's going to help, right? Y'all are going, oh my goodness. But anyway, so then when this magical thing called puberty happens, well, we need no more support. So she's got a very light stay in her corset, and sister's getting her all tied up now. So
Could you bend over and pick something up off the ground? Not
Not
very
too easy.
How about side to side?
not too easy. That's right.
I can pick stuff off of the ground. It's just not very pretty because I got to get down on my knees
Sister
and
has
then get back up.
Sister has a working corset on, so it's got a little more. But now, when you think about it, I'm a married lady, and you know, after God gives you, I don't know, 10 or 12 children, however many you get, you need a little more support, right? So I have a corset with steel stays in it.
You heard of abs of steel? I
That's
believe
me.
that's the same
That's
thing.
me, abs of steel, right here. And so I mean, my range of motion is very limited, okay? So if I drop something, I hope and pray there's a man or a small child around to be able to help me by picking it up.
But you don't
didn't
want
drop
the
anything.
lines
Sorry, sir.
of your corset to show underneath your clothing. So she's going to get a chemisette or a corset cover that covers up the line of her corset so it doesn't show under her dress. Now her dress in the summertime may be very see-through. It may be very sheer. And so you want anything that shows through to be lacy. And we'll talk about that a little bit more.
But, you know, a greatest compliment a man could give his wife, he'd be talking about her and he'd say, you know, my wife, she is uptight and straight-laced all the time. Well, now we kind of go, oh dear. But that was a high compliment back in the day, because we always presented ourselves as a proper lady.
You would never embarrass your husband.
Never
in
embarrass
public.
your husband.
Now we need someone that can cipher, and we didn't talk about that.
No. Does anybody know how to cipher? 1, 2, 3, 4. They're, okay, we got some in the back. Okay.
Okay, so she's got her pantaloons on.
1,
She's got her chemise. She has her corset and her corset cover. Now we're going to get creative, and we're going to put one petticoat on, but we're going to say it's really 3.
so you have to cipher a little bit, okay?
So
So-
4 plus 3.
Yes, okay. Because, go ahead, sister.
Think of the bloomers.
Now, if by chance, God forbid, that she would fall, it's for modesty that we wear all these petticoats and stuff. Because if we fall down, we could be embarrassed. And we don't want to be embarrassed. So, we've got 7 now.
And then we're going to put on 3 more petticoats.
3 more petticoats, okay? So 7 and 3 is Great. Okay, so she's got 10 layers on right now. Okay. But we're not done. Okay, now we are creatures that love fashion, right? We get our fashion cues from Queen Victoria, because she really helps with fashion. And we used to wear the cage crinoline, which looked like a bird cage. You know those Victorian bird cages? And we'd open it up and we'd step in it and we'd close it shut. We'd put the braces over the shoulder and we'd walk like this. And that was very not practical. So Queen Victoria had a lady in waiting that came over from France, and she brought her this wonderful creation called a hoop skirt. And before the war, every woman could afford it. It was about $1, between $1.25 and $1.50. And all you would do is save your little extra money that you'd make, maybe selling eggs or apples or whatever.
We called it our egg money.
Yes. And so then she could go and buy one, because you wouldn't want to waste your husband's money buying some frivolous little thing like this, because he's worked hard for that money. And so now
we're at 11 layers, right? Well, we're going to put on 3 more petticoats.
because you don't want everybody to see the layers, the
wires
metal
of your hoop.
Yes, you don't want to see the hoops, because we want to give the illusion of floating.
Now this petticoat has a ruffle only at the bottom. The next one would have 2 ruffles. And the third one might be all lace.
It might
because
just,
it would show
yes.
through your dress.
Now, we don't have all those petticoats, and she's real glad we don't. So now, right now, if you think about it, have you ever seen anybody with less clothing on walking in the...
She's got 14 layers.
Yeah. So, yes, I think you have. Have you seen? You have.
No, let me ask you a question.
Okay, yes.
How long did it take these ladies to put on all these things?
Well, it depends.
Whoa.
It depends if you have help.
Oh.
So that's a big thing. But anyway, we'll get back to that, okay? And so right now, gentlemen, you would not be looking at her because she's totally indecent. This is all underwear. All underwear.
So gentlemen, please avert your eyes,
Yes.
especially those young men up in the corner.
Yeah, so sister's gonna get her dressed really quick, and I'm gonna tell you about the laundry. Laundry is done once a week. On Mondays we do our laundry. Because think about what we had to do. We had to build a fire, put a big pot on it, fill it with water, then you look and the fire's out. So you start the fire again, you finally get the water hot and boiling, then you clean all your whites with bleach, or bluing as we called it, lye soap, and hot water. Well, on our whites it works really good, but on our colored fabrics it don't work so good.
And we're dealing with cottons, we're dealing with linen, we're dealing with wool, we're dealing with silk. What happens if you put those in hot soapy water and boil them?
It's not good, right? It's your daughter's doll now, you know? So our outside wear, we don't wash it that often. But we have a way of taking care of it. We have a brush that we brush at night. We brush the dirt off of our dress.
And our dresses all have a facing on the hem, and that collects all of the dust from the street because we're walking on dirt roads.
And so we
paths.
brush off the dirt. If you have a spot, you might wash that one little spot off. We take our clothes off, turn them inside out, and hang them to air. And that way, it just freshens them up. Now think about how much she's got underneath that. 14 layers. Any body fluids are going to be trapped in our underwear. So that's why we wash those weekly. Sometimes our outerwear, we don't wash those that often. Don't think we're stinky. But it might be only a couple of times a year.
Because to wash it, we would have to take each piece apart, unsew all the seams, wash each piece, iron each piece, stretch it back to the original size, sew it together, and hope it still fit.
Right.
So,
And so we have to be careful with it.
so now you can walk around a little bit.
See? Now I didn't ask how old she is, but
I'm 28.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'd never believe it. But anyway, so, never. You're so young looking, my goodness. But anyway, so before a woman is married, she'd have her dress, you
We're
know,
saying you 15.
okay, she's 15.
That's
And-
the right length.
And so
15.
she'd be wearing it, and as she gets a little older, it would slowly creep down. And when she gets married, it would, of course, be all the way to the ground and dragging behind about 2 to 3 feet. It's
We
not.
can't do that
We
out
can't. It's not safe. We can't do it. So occasionally you might see an ankle, gentlemen. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
Why don't you go and sit down over there?
Yeah, right over there by Mrs. Healy. Yeah, just sit down.
Just turn around and sit.
Yeah, there you go. You're just fine. Just sit. There you go.
It doesn't fly up in her face.
It didn't fly
And
over her head.
She's sitting very straight, very proper, because if you slouch with the corset, it pokes you. It's not comfy.
And it's not a pretty sight.
It does wonders for your posture.
Of course it does. So anyway, doesn't it see? She looks so neat and prim and proper. Thank you, dear. That was wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Now you just come right over here and sister will help you.
Do they do anything about like sweating in your arms? Do they have anything to just sweat?
You might use a little powder, but
And they would use mineral salts,
uh-huh.
which now is a deodorant that you can buy. It's a very safe deodorant. But that's what they would use then, is a block of mineral salt. Yeah.
No, it really not. Yeah. But yes, dear.
Do you guys have 15 layers on?
If I did, I wouldn't have anything to put on her.
Right. Yeah. So, but we have quite a few layers. Not the 15, but we've got quite a few
And
layers.
I have something called a corded petticoat,
Thank
which
you.
is cords of cotton sewn onto cloth, and that keeps my skirts away from my legs. Now that's what I would wear in my house at home.
Instead of
Or
a
if I
hoop.
was too poor to have a hoop, I would wear a corded petticoat while I saved up for a hoop.
Right.
Because I want to be at the height of fashion. My hoop is smaller because it's what I would wear in my house. Their hoops are a little bit bigger because they're out in public.
Now, as you notice, I look like a big black blob. I am in mourning. My husband has passed. I am now in my 2nd year of mourning because I have fancier buttons on and I don't have a full veil over my face. And I can talk to y'all because I wouldn't do that. That wouldn't be proper. So that I am in the 2nd stage of mourning. Women are if their husband passes, they are in mourning for 3 years and a day. That we're in
You're
mourning.
black all day for 3 years?
Yes.
Oh.
And with mourning, because that was the custom of the time, that's when ready to wear started. So you would have a store in town that would sell nothing but mourning attire. And so it would be like going to Macy's for y'all to go buy your black dress for the funeral. That's what we did. Only we had to wear it for a year or a different time. Like for a son, it'd be a certain amount of time. For a brother, it'd be a certain amount of time. But husband, it was 3 years. So the first year, you're all in black. Your veil would be a long, heavy veil. And that's what you would wear if by chance you had to go out in public. But most of the time you would have somebody else do your shopping. You would have somebody to go get, your minister would come in to minister to you in the house, in your home, because you wouldn't go out. And you'd never go out without an escort. Now, like I said, this 2nd year, so I have some more decorative pins, not as much covering my face, and that's what I would wear. And then when you get to 3rd stage mourning, you would wear some more color. You could wear some more color in your clothes, some gray, some brown, some lavender, some white. Those were all colors that were acceptable for mourning.
Now, did you talk about your husband?
No.
Now, if a husband would lose his wife,
Mm-hmm.
he is in mourning for 6 months.
Good.
And then he can remarry. And he wears a black armband.
Yeah.
Because chances are he has a passel of children at home that need a mother.
And he
needs-
certainly can't.
He
Oh,
needs
no.
someone to take care of him. So he can marry faster. Now, if you're a young girl and you marry a widower,
He might have 7 children. Oh, God help us.
but you then are not in mourning, you get married, and then you go into mourning for his wife.
You're not
for
a
the
kid.
period of time.
You're
until
mourning
he
his
is
wife
out of
because you
mourning.
got those kids to take care of now. Oh, merciful heavens. So, but can you imagine mourning your husband's dead wife? I don't think so, but that's what we did. So anyway, questions. I saw some hands. Oh, they're everywhere. Yes,
So
dear.
if the women had to go for 3 years,
Yeah.
who took
Even
care
if,
of that?
if you were in mourning for your husband and you had children at home that needed someone to take care of you, you could marry, but then you went back into mourning.
Right.
Yes. You could marry before the 3 years, and during the war that happened, but then you went back into mourning for your first husband.
So if that husband died, then you tack on. I mean, you could be, oh mercy.
Yes.
Over there.
From Victorian, yes.
So if
All right.
you marry someone who is, if you marry, if you marry and your husband's a widow, then do you have to mourn for the 3 years or only mourn for how much he has?
Oh, not for his wife. No, you don't have to mourn 3 years. You might. I mean, I
Depending
don't know
on what
how
he
those
wants.
kids are. Can you
The
imagine?
Victorian feeling with mourning, and one of our ladies in Civilian Town does a very good talk on mourning, but the Victorian feeling is the worst thing to die with no one to mourn you properly.
Yes. Okay. Sis, did you
General
wanna put
Grant
some-
is ready to come up. So if you have more questions, come over to the Maryland line. We're the second group in.
Yeah.
We will be glad to talk to you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay.